let's get to some weekend picks, Bob. So TV is still taking a deep breath before the big month of September. But if you want to know what I'm watching during this hiatus, I'll give you a few ideas.
And I do want
For
to know.
one, I've decided it's time for me to catch up on Boardwalk Empire in time for the fourth season starting this fall in a couple weeks.
Really? Okay. Now, man, now that I know you're catching up, I'm half tempted to almost want to, but I got like halfway through the second season and I was like, just it was tiring for some reason. Tell me what you think.
Well, I'm actually still in the first season. I never really got into it. I
Oh,
just
wow.
figure if I'm going to get serious about this TV thing, Boardwalk Empire should be a show that I know. But the first half of the first season, I'm going to say, is surprisingly better than how it seems, which is a lot more along the lines of your reaction and what I get from critics who seem to be like, yeah, some cool stuff, but it's not that great, is sort of the general buzz from critics.
Well, not to play right into what you just said, but I feel like the first season especially is solid because it's fresh and new, um, pretty artistic in its way. It recreates that era and the crime syndicate that's going on there. But then the second season, it doesn't have as much to offer. At least that's what happened with me. So I felt like, unlike Breaking Bad, where it just keeps getting better and better, Boardwalk Empire, just brace yourself for not quite as good. It's worse and worse.
Yeah, I already feel like it's homework, to be quite honest. But that's what I'm watching. And
Okay.
then there's another one. The critics are all abuzz about Broadchurch, which is a British crime drama. And you know me, I only have stamina for so much British TV. But it's been a couple of months since I've watched any. I think the last one was Orphan Black. And this is one that my fellow critics really seem to be into, so I'll be giving it a shot this week. And I think I was able to go and find all 4 episodes so far on BBC America on my TiVo to sweep up for this week, and so I could catch up.
Okay, cool.
Uh, um, but I'm going to turn it over to you for movies, and then I may come back at the end with some follow-ups just to see if we're on the same page or what you think about some of my thoughts. Movies, Bob. What do you got for us?
Okay, so the big one this week that I'm relatively excited for is Closed Circuit.
Ooh, all
It's an
right.
international suspense thriller with people
Sounds
like
like a
Eric,
like a college application resume or something like that.
right? Eric Bana, Rebecca Hall, all these people who have names that I always mispronounce, but I like them in movies. Like, is it Syrian Hines? Kieran?
Kieran.
Kieran Hines, yeah, solid. You know, he played Caesar in Rome.
Yeah, I loved him in that role.
Yeah, he's a great actor. He was also in the short-lived Political Animals, great show.
Game of
Um,
Thrones.
Game of Thrones, he makes an appearance. I hope we see more of him. It's not getting great buzz so far, but I'm still going to see it, and I'm excited for it just because
Yeah,
I like movies that book themselves as international suspense thrillers. What can I say?
I'm glad you brought this up. I was going to bring this up too, so I have a little bit to say. So I find the preview to this dreadfully boring, to be quite honest. But
Uh-oh.
then I found out that it was written by Steve King, and he also did Eastern Promises, which is one of my favorite movies of the last 10 years. But I know you didn't care for it so much.
Well, this is like a weird cross section of like reasons for us to care and not care opposite each other.
Yeah.
Wow. Hmm.
Anyway, so that brought me over to the side of maybe I will watch it, especially if it's going to be our pick for full review. But anyway, I'm a little bit torn about it. I'm glad you brought it up. Okay.
All right. Well, that's the leading candidate. We can see if we're both interested in something else. But the other two that I see that are accessible and releases that are going to play more than like New York and LA or whatever. Empire State. Now this is. We've seen this premise before. A pair of old friends scheme to rob an armored car with a cop hot on their tail. Liam Hemsworth, who's one of these, I get him and his brother Chris Hemsworth confused. One of them's a superhero, the other one's always not a superhero, I guess. Dwayne the Rock Johnson, Emma Roberts. It's also, kind of an action, crime, drama, exciting stuff happening theoretically. But it also feels kind of generic, and the previews have me mixed. So I could go either way, and the title's also kind of generic, Empire State. Um, We'll see.
Yeah, I didn't notice that one. It sounds sort of generic from my point of view, but okay.
Mm. And the other one is, this is like a weekend of crime thriller slash semi-generic titled, maybe boring preview type movies. This one's called Getaway, so it could be about pretty much anything. Starring Ethan Hawke is a burned out race car driver who is thrust into a do-or-die mission behind the wheel when his wife is kidnapped. It could be exciting, but then it stars Selena Gomez as a young hacker, quote unquote. So,
That's not a casting decision I would have thought to be obvious.
right, me neither. And it stars John Voight as the voice. I don't know if you ever see him in the movie. He's just credited as the voice, the villainous voice.
He's so in my mind as Mickey Donovan right now. That'll be interesting.
Right. Yeah, so I mean, we got three movies that are all kind of crime, thriller, suspense, drama type this weekend for whatever reason. I'm sort of looking at Closed Circuit. Closed Circuit is the front runner, but we'll see. Did you anything else catch your eye, movie-wise?
So movies is kind of the same for me. I feel like last week was just huge, and I saw 3 movies, but there are a couple others that I still want to see, and I may go pick those up. Just on my list are Short Term 12, starring Brie Larson and directed by Destin Cretton, which I've heard really good things about, and Ain't Them Bodies Saints looks pretty good. So those are also on my list of things I may go and mop up from last week. But those are probably on the harder to find, possibly even only in New York and LA for all I know. But they pop on my radar pretty easily. So.
Right. Yeah, and I guess for the people to know, I usually go for some of those if they break into the San Francisco area, then even if they're limited release, I think Logan and I are like, well, close enough. Yeah, it's wide stream or wide release enough. But otherwise, yeah, go more for the mainstream, I suppose.
Right on. It's TV, it's movies, it's practically culture. Go forth and watch.